to identify you, arrest you, and imprison you.
Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche in Ohio, along with other top officials, including the FBI director, to announce the latest charges and schemes to defraud taxpayer-funded services, also announcing a partnership with Ohio officials, the way Blanche says it should be in every state.
This is an example when federal and state partners work together toward justice. Our cases are stronger, the deterrence is greater, and the biggest problems facing our country, the ones we've been told are just the way it is, there's nothing we can do about it, start to look solvable because they are.
Medicaid and Medicare services a big focus for the Trump anti-fraud task force. The FBI now has a most wanted fraudsters list and says scam centers around the world are preying on American seniors. An Iran proxy in Lebanon is rejecting a renewed ceasefire signed by Lebanon and Israel after talks in Washington. The deal includes creating security zones where Hezbollah would be banned.
This agreement was dependent on the Iran-backed militants of Hezbollah ending their hostile actions against Israel. The group's leader says agreeing to the demand that they leave southern Lebanon would mean surrender, defeat, and achieving the enemy's goals. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah threatens to derail the peace process with Iran. Tehran insists there has to be peace in Lebanon as part of any agreement with the United States.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins just telling a House panel the first U.S. case of New World screwworm in decades can be contained.
We are using every tool at our disposal to eliminate this threat to our livestock producers and to our national security.
The flesh-eating parasite was confirmed in a calf in Texas. America is listening to...
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will bring partly sunny skies with a breeze and very warm temperatures, reaching a high of 86. Tonight, expect partly cloudy conditions with warm temperatures dropping to a low of 70. Tomorrow will start with some sunshine before clouds increase. It'll be breezy, warm, and more humid with a chance of a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly later in the day. The high will be around 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Alex Marlow sees a renewed Democrat Party.
They're going to have a renewed focus on voters in Middle America and the South. How they do that, I don't know. No one knows. They certainly don't know. Do you think that a party that is run where its entire leadership is from the Manhattan area and all of its major presidential candidates seem to be from places like California, do you feel like that perhaps that party could be out of touch? Well, apparently it is.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Shh, here she comes. Surprise! They sent a duplicate shipment to your flower shop. Now you have to pay for 1,000 extra carnations. Also, there's a beehive outside your store, and they're super aggressive. There's thousands of them.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, the egg salad you just ate was expired. Gross.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 30% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LIFELOCK, 1-800-LIFELOCK, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Now that spring is here, it's time for some spring home maintenance. Hot water issues? Call CenterGuard Plumbing. Right now, get a new 40-gallon atmospheric vent water heater installed for just $1,295 standard installation, or a 50-gallon for $1,395 standard installation with free haul away of your old tank. A proud sponsor of AM 560, you'll save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on tankless and atmospheric vent water heaters with CenterGuard Plumbing. Plus, get 10% off any licensed plumbing contractor competitor's price. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive spring special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
All right, welcome. It's Thursday, and it's 4 days post-passing a record budget in the state of Illinois, a record budget in the state of Illinois for which the Democrats said it is a tight budget year, which makes no sense when you just passed a record budget. Well, we are not finished talking about this because guess what? I think it's worse than anybody believes. And here right now, coming on our station, is the Senate's Republicans' chief budgeteer. That would be Chapin Rose. He represents the 51st District, and he joins us right now. Chapin, thanks so much for coming on our program.
Hey, Jeanne, how you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, you had so many good comments on the House floor. We couldn't play them all. We played some of them over the course of this week. But, let's get right to it. You essentially said we've had a tremendous growth in spending, a tremendous growth in new taxes, and yet really the state has nothing to show for it in terms of economic and job growth.
That's right. And listen, I think it's important to take a step back from this budget. While, yes, it's the biggest one ever. And yes, there's, $800 million in additional taxes. But you got to look at J.B. Pritzker's entire 8 years in office. Okay, this is the end of his second term. This is his eighth budget. And when you look at the cumulative impact, spending is up $16 billion, 40% increase in spending in just 8 years in the state budget. 40 plus taxes and fees he's raised on the people of Illinois. Okay, so across the board, when you look at what this guy's doing, if more taxes and bigger government actually helped people, wouldn't everybody in Illinois be happy right now? I mean, my goodness, 40% increase in spending, 40 plus taxes have been raised. I mean, if prosperity, if you found prosperity through bigger government and more taxes on people, then Illinois ought to be just, we ought to be, living it up right now. And of course, you and I know, your listeners know, there's no government in the history of Earth that's taxed itself to prosperity, right? It doesn't happen. In fact, there's plenty that have taxed themselves out of existence. Soviet Union, right? I mean, taxation, when you overtax and overregulate the people of your country, you destroy it. And quite frankly, state is just a small country. So the bottom line here, Jeanne, is you want to talk about how this affects people. State spending is up 40%. Anybody listening in the last 8 years had their own take-home pay go up 40% in the same time period? Then why did government get to grow 40%?
Well, the reason we're talking to you, too, because the budgets Jeanne and I were discussing before the show started, 3,700 pages, 400 more pages than last year. So that's a lot to go through. And one thing, so my niece graduated from Lincoln College 2 years ago. And for the past 2 years, Jeanne brought this to our attention. We have yet to talk about it on the air, but they have granted them a $500,000 grant. The school was shut down 2 years in a row. So no one's like, they're being lazy. Pritzker's people are being lazy and keeping the same budget and not even cleaning out the budget. It's like not cleaning out voter rolls.
Well, yeah, actually, if you want to talk about voter impact, Did you notice the $750,000 for this group called the Hustle Mommies?
Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday.
I'm joining the group tomorrow, Chapin.
You're not the right color.
Right.
Oh, I'll lie.
Well, the funny thing is, if you track through their website, the group ends up becoming essentially an election turnout organization. And so, they've got this affiliate on their website that was for Kamala Harris. Now, granted, that election's over. When you actually look at it, it references elections plural, right? Clearly with the intent to move forward, and $750,000 of the taxpayers' money is now going to this group that ends up, having an affiliate who just spends all of its time turning out, election, this is legalized. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that one is legal, but in general, the amount of walk around money that these people are using of the taxpayers' dime is just off the charts. And I'll give you another one. At 4:00 in the morning, whenever the Third Amendment appeared, that was the real budget, maybe 3:34, whatever it was. Oh, look at that! $40 million for the Southwest Side Organizing Project. $40 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me just put this in context for everybody. And I think this is really important because Democrats get away with this narrative that Republicans don't care. We hate people. We're lizard aliens, all the things, right? Here's something that's interesting. When J.B. Pritzker took over as governor, the amount of money that the take-home pay that people who serve the development disabled in the state, the direct support professionals make, was 150% of minimum wage. When he took over 8 years ago, it was 150% of minimum wage. Not one time in the 8 years that he's been governor have those frontline workers for our development disabled friends and neighbors, the people by every modicum of moral ethic and virtue any society on earth has ever had, we have a duty to take care of. The people through no fault of their own, need our help. The development disabled, not one time in 8 years has he have those folks take home pay to serve. Those folks gotten back to 150%. Now, what does it do with Southwest Side Organizing Project? Here's what it has to do with it. 10 a.m. we have our hearing. I raised this issue. It only takes $24 million out of a $56, $57 billion budget. It takes $24 million to get these folks back, not ahead, just back to where they started when JB took over 8 years ago. $24 million. Oh, we don't have that. It's a tight, austere year. Trump's killing us. Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
3:34 in the morning. Here's $40 million for the Southwest Side Organizing Project. Oh, we got $40 million for this. We can't take every development disabled. So you know what, guys, gals? I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yeah. No offense.
You know what? I'm not going to take one more barb, one more attack, one more, article, headline, whatever, from the progressive left, from the Democratic Party, or quite frankly, the mainstream news media that says Republicans don't care. Because J.B. Pritzker has had 8 years to do better for the development disabled in the state, and he's failed every single year.
Yeah, so when David Axelrod went and had his little visit with the Pope, did he bring up the fact that we treat the developmentally disabled as garbage, as to be discarded, to be shuttered away into state-run homes that aren't well done? I mean, did he bring that up? Because his daughter sits in Misericordia, which is one of the nicest developmentally disabled organizations out there and should be the gold standard. And we have the gold standard in the state, and every organization should be meeting that standard, but we don't spend the money on it at all. You're absolutely right.
Well, here's another quinky dink for those of us who are downstaters, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. J.B. Pritzker is actually paying the folks in suburban DD centers above 150. Just isn't helping the downstate folks.
Oh my goodness.
And that is despicable, because you know what? Our DD friends and neighbors, whether they've got Down syndrome and are very mobile and able to drive a car and have a job and all those things, or maybe they're, so medically complex that they're, they literally require 24/7, 365 medical care just to stay alive. Those folks, when you have $56 billion and you can't just maintain pace from what you took over in 8 years, that is despicable.
Well, and
I'm not going to tell you, and who doesn't care? Oh, they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. And you put it to them, and they still didn't write it into the budget. They had all that opportunity, amendment after amendment, hour after hour, made you sit there, do the hurry up and wait stuff. They could have put in $24 million to just bring them to 150% of minimum wage, and they didn't do it.
Instead, they put in $40 million for the Southwest Side Organizing Project.
Well, let me tell you,
it's just despicable.
Well, let me tell you, the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, they're excited about the budget. Here's their press release. As the GA spring session comes to a close, our members celebrate the meaningful policy and budget wins for our communities. But we're disappointed that the final budget does not include multiple options on the table to Trump-proof Illinois. By failing to be bold this session, our state has put families and vital programs at risk. Meanwhile, they celebrate $40 million investment in funding for public benefits program outreach. That's what they do. It's really political outreach. They do interpretation.
It's all walking around money.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all walking around money. It's taxpayer finance walking around money. Yeah. Jeannie, let me make that. Actually, let's put some more context around this illegal immigrant question. So, as a part of the budget, when you add it up, you have 144 million-ish for illegal immigrant health care, and then you have another 4.4 million or so for welcome centers for immigrants, welcome centers, right? So there's 150 million of the state taxpayer dollars going to that. And keep in mind, this is a budget that, when introduced, was short roughly $900 million. Okay, so they've got 150 million going in there. So how do they make that up? How do they come up with the money to fund a budget that's short? Oh, look at this. There's a $150 million transfer from the sales tax on gasoline. 150 million bucks pulled out of the sales tax on gasoline, going into the underwrite the state budget. Isn't it just odd that it roughly approximates 150 million going to this other, going to illegals? But never mind that. Then they stand up, and this is what really, really just absolutely galls me. They stand up and say, "Oh, we're going to forgive for 6 months," conveniently right past the election, the 1%, the 1 cent increase in gas tax on July 1. Okay, 1 cent. We're gonna forego 1 cent for 6 months.
That's so nice of them.
They don't even make pennies anymore. They stopped making pennies.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're stealing 150 million of the sales tax. And the sales tax, by the way, that is gouging you. So this, and by the way, they call it surplus. It's surplus funds. There's no surplus funds, and they go out and blame Trump. But then they don't give you. If you guys are blaming Trump, blame Trump. But then give us our money back in the process. Oh no, they keep the money because it's a surplus. Because a sales tax is computed on the underlying value of the commodity. So the price of gas goes up. The windfall to the state of Illinois goes up. That's why they call it a surplus. Well, it's not a surplus. It was never budgeted for. It was never intended to be spent. Give us our money back.
That's right.
But no, they're going to spend it. They're going to spend it. Yeah. And then they're going to say, "Oh, but we're going to give you a penny back per gallon." Wow, thanks, guys. So net, there's actually about a $90 million raid on the gas tax. So they look at that and say, "Oh, look, we're doing you a favor. We're here to help." On the other hand, they're literally stealing $90 million out of your left pocket while they're putting a penny in your right pocket.
Wow.
And in good, somehow they're keeping a straight face when they're saying, "Oh yeah, this is a good deal for you people."
Well, that voice belongs to
when are the people.
Yeah.
Sorry. When are the people going to wake up and be done with this? Sorry.
Well, no, I just want people to know in case they're just joining us. We're speaking with State Senator Chapin Rose, 51st District. Okay, so the Build Act is done. The credit card access fee, that's put on hold for a year. But we still have the Bears. And you were there. It passed in the Senate. So what happened in the House, and what was it like in the Senate when that vote was taken?
Well, you have to pardon the pun, but they literally fumbled the ball on the 1 yard line, right?
Yeah, that's fine. We love sports analogies, really.
Right. So, look, what I think this is a massive failure of J.B. Pritzker, and it also sets up a perfect symbol of right track, wrong track. Indiana comes together, puts together a massive package to lure the Bears to Illinois worth over $1 billion. Okay. They pass it out of their General Assembly. The governor signs it. They're in the mix. And by the way, they do it all in about 2.5 months. Okay. Behind door number 2 is, Governor Pritzker, who spends 2 years negotiating something, all these things, right? shows up on the Saturday of session and realizes he doesn't have the votes for what he's been working on for 2 years, then tries to slapdash something together at the last minute on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and all day Sunday. By the way, the budget would have been done probably Friday had this Bears thing not completely collapsed over the weekend. I truly think their plan was to pass the budget Friday, Saturday, and leave early and claim victory. They got out early for once. But instead, they tried slapdashing this thing together that no one had seen, no one had read, no one even heard about, because for 2 years there was something else going on, right? Mm-hmm. And then when that fails in the House, then JB comes out and says, well, I'm not for billionaires, and I just couldn't accept helping the McCaskey family. What? You spent 2 years trying to help billionaires.
Right. Yeah, no, not on top of that. I'm sorry, but you gave Rivian $827 million and Goshen $536 million. So don't tell me you don't like handing out taxpayer money to your pet projects. Of course you do. So what's the play there for him? Is he assuming that the bill one way or another wasn't going to benefit him for a presidential run? And so, I mean, what is his play? I don't understand him.
Yeah, frankly, I think it's just bungled. I think.
Oh, you think it's just bungled? Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, I think it's just total negligence. Mm-hmm. I mean, he spends 2 years and doesn't even count his votes until the last day, right? Or the second to last day. I mean, it just. And again, look, right track, wrong track. Look at Indiana. Look at, Illinois has the fourth highest unemployment rate in the country, highest in the Midwest, right? Our growth rates are less than half the national average. Indiana, Missouri, they're booming, right? Indiana shows up and says, hey, here's a package to track the bear. It takes them 2.5 months to do it. It's $1 billion, right? Healthy package, right? The Bears have this option, and it's now a quiver, an arrow in their quiver. On the other hand, you got JB, 2 years, can't get anything done, bungles it, and then comes out with this idiotic press conference. Well, I wasn't for it to begin with. What have you been doing for the last 2 years?
I know.
And the truth of the matter is, and this is the part where I make everybody in Chicago mad. I'm a Packer fan, so it really doesn't bother me one way or the other. But the truth is, as a downstater and a Packer fan, I can respect the Chicago Bears are a big deal to not just the state of Chicago, the big deal to the whole state of Illinois. It's a pride point. It's also an economic advantage. But peel away the Bears label and look at how many other companies have left Illinois in the last 8 years under J.B. Pritzker. The Bears are no different at this point because the state of Illinois is awful under Governor Pritzker at economic development. We are awful. I mean, Boeing, gone. Yep. Caterpillar's left. State Farm says they're in Bloomington, but they're basically in Dallas and Atlanta.
Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, it's major Citadel Capital gone. I mean, major company after major companies leaving, and so here we are, Chicagoans. Oh, we're going to keep the Bears. What makes you think you're going to keep the Bears when you couldn't keep anybody else?
Well, what do you think they're going to do in your heart of hearts, Chapin Rose? Are they going to go to Hammond or Arlington Heights?
I still think Arlington Heights is my guess, but here's two interesting things. One is that Speaker Welch did say when even though he adjourned without calling the Senate bill that no one had read for a vote, he did say he expects to be back soon on something. Okay, so this isn't over. Right. And Jeannie, as you know, as being a veteran, lawmaker yourself, once you get past the election, all things are possible in veto session and lame duck session, right?
Absolutely.
So you've got a lame duck session coming. The Bears front office is smart enough to know that that's when all the, shenanigans occur. So, if I was the Bears, I would wait another 6 months and see what happens after the election, because I suspect that everyone from Governor Pritzker to Welch to Harmon are all going to be in a different position in lame duck than they were today, right? Now, that's a different question than how does this impact JB's presidential ambitions. I think no matter what happens at this point, he looks like a fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think what you just said over the last couple minutes is really what needs to be elevated in the conversation, and that's that this entire session was a complete failure when it came to J.B. Pritzker, 100% failure. He was disengaged. Yeah. He had one grand program, the build program, that completely failed. His budget is a record budget, another, nearly $1 billion in taxes. It still's got all the pork in it. And I mean, I think this is a really good exclamation point on his 8 years. He has been a failure, and he is disengaged, completely Trump derangement syndrome, off the playing field where he needs to be. and in the pie in the sky ambitions for president, which will never happen.
I would exactly, and again, the only caution I give anybody is the Bears are this big sexy thing, and it's obviously Chicago's a huge deal, but look at everybody else that's lost in 8 years. I mean, the concussive impact to the state of Illinois economy through the collective loss of Citadel, Boeing, Caterpillar, again, State Farm still headquartered here, but their expansion has been in Atlanta and Dallas. It's the Bears are just sort of a symbol of what is wrong, right? Healthy economies don't have to tax themselves every year another $1 billion to stay healthy. They grow naturally, and their state revenues grow naturally through growth of economics, through people working, through people being employed. That is the message the Republicans need to give: is that this is fundamentally unhealthy. You are in a death spiral of taxation. You are choking off economic development. You're choking off jobs creators. You're choking off jobs for the people that live here. And as a consequence, they are leaving. And the Bears is just the latest in a string. But yeah, I mean, he fumbled this massively. Massively fumbled it. And again, to pull out this Hail Mary, to keep mixing all the metaphors, to pull out this Hail Mary on Saturday and like, oh, look at this, guys. You ought to love this. And it's like, nobody even knows what you're talking about. Like, you're bringing us a bill that no one's seen. They were literally drafting it until like all the way through Sunday night, Monday morning, to then unfurl it and the House goes home. And it's just legislative malpractice at some level.
All right. He's Chapin Rose, and we appreciate his commentary all the time. Chapin, so much for joining us on The Real Story.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Coming up on The Real Story, shot spotter replacement and how many people have died since it's been gone. We'll have an update.
You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
If moving safely around your home is a concern, you deserve clear answers, not a sales pitch. Access will help you improve home accessibility with practical solutions like lifts, grab bars, and home modifications, designed to fit your home, your needs, and budget. Experienced professionals will take the time to explain your options so you can make an informed decision. If staying safe and comfortable in your home matters to you, start with a free in-home consultation. Call Access at 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we'll get to Shot Spotter a little bit later. Got a text message. So, Jeannie, what happens when they give $500,000 grant to a school that is closed, i.e. Lincoln College, which has been closed for 2 years?
Well, I mean, we didn't get into it with Senator Rose, but essentially what they're doing is they're taking the budget from previous years, adding to it, and not cleaning it up. So there's been a grant to Lincoln College for, a couple of years now, even past it closing. They're not getting the money.
Okay.
There's no money going to them. It's just a Scribner's error. But really what it is it's sloppiness.
It's laziness.
Yes.
They're giving money to a school that Lincoln College in Lincoln, Illinois. It's abandoned buildings now. My niece, she was the last graduating class. They had gotten hacked before that, I know, and there was millions of dollars of ransom that they couldn't pay, and then that was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, but it just tells you the inattentiveness and the lack of attention to detail from these legislators, and they're just slopping it together. It's depressing, quite frankly. We need zero-based budgeting in this state, that's for sure.
Things that you only hear here on The Real Story. Coming up, exposing the radical takeover of schools with Victoria Manning from Restoration News.
The Sean Thompson Show.
I don't care what they are. A doctor, a lawyer, a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker. If they're a Democrat, they're a fracking criminal. They do nothing. Good for nothing. They cannot tell the truth. They pretend to be what exactly? Anything other than what they are. The greatest political mafia this country's ever seen.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. The Trump administration announced today it was charging 14 people in Ohio of committing more than $50 million of fraud as part of a wider crackdown against fraud across the country.
With our state and local partners, the Department of Justice will be working day and night to identify you, arrest you, and imprison you.
That's Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who President Trump says could soon be in the AG role permanently. Hezbollah rejects the ceasefire signed by Israel and Lebanon.
This agreement was dependent on the Iran-backed militants of Hezbollah ending their hostile actions against Israel. The group's leader says agreeing to the demand that they leave southern Lebanon would mean surrender, defeat, and achieving the enemy's goals.
And that is Fox's Jonathan Savage reporting. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect partly sunny skies with a breeze and very warm temperatures, reaching a high of 86. Tonight will be partly cloudy and warm with a low of 70. Tomorrow will start with some sun, then clouds will increase. It'll be breezy, warm, and more humid with a chance of a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly later in the day. The high will be around 80. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon, CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
The IRS just lost thousands of experienced agents. Unfortunately, your tax debt didn't disappear with them. Right now, the IRS is understaffed and overwhelmed. Now is the time to put your IRS issues behind you. Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS? Has the IRS garnished your wages yet? Have they grabbed your bank account yet? They will if you ignore them long enough. This is Patrick Noon with PJN Tax Solutions Group. We are a local tax resolution firm located right here in St. Charles, Illinois. Don't call some 1-800-FIRM 10 states away. We're right here. Listen, this is your window of opportunity. Our tax resolution team knows exactly how to leverage the chaos. But you need to act before the IRS regroups. Call us now. The IRS is in disarray. We are not. 630-415-5296. That number again, 630-415-5296. Or just Google, I want the IRS off my ASS.
All right, Father's Day, not too far away. And if you want to get something for your dad or maybe your husband that's unique and different, may I recommend Level 10 Coatings? The garage floor, if it looks bad, covered in salt, cracked, or stained, get it fixed. And it is one of the best things you will do. Trust me, I called Level 10. They brought my garage floor from dirty, unlevel, cracks everywhere, oil stains. They brought it to showroom shiny in just one day. I went to work and I came back and they were done. Wonderful crew, like-minded people, great company. So if you want to get something exciting that will be a gift forever, not just for Father's Day, but for the life of your garage, the life of your house, and then some, call our good friends at Level 10 Coatings, 855-510-2628. Get a free estimate. And by the way, it's not an epoxy job. It's polyurea, which is superior to epoxy. It does not chip. It does not peel. It is easy to wash and clean. I've turned mine into a bonus room. The boys had a big ping pong party and watched TV in there. It's like a bonus room and an extra basement, I can tell you that. Like-minded people, tell them Amy and receive $500 off. Call them for a free estimate. 855-510-2628. Again, 855-510-2628. Or Simply go online to level10coatings.com. That's level, the number 10, coatings.com.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the Made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way and affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Something that is always important to talk about, always, and that's the education of our children. And even more important is, who are those educators? Who are those administrators? What are they doing behind closed doors, and what are the policies they're implementing? Well, here to discuss her experience, firsthand experience on the Virginia Beach School District, and more importantly, about the Loudoun County Public Schools Superintendent Erin Spence, who is going before a congressional committee next week. We want to talk with her because guess what? Her experience is real as a conservative. Is the experience of every conservative on a school board. She's got a lot of information to share with you. Good. It's Victoria Manning. She's the senior investigative researcher for Restoration News, specializing in education freedom, immigration, and military issue. She's the author of Behind the Wall of Government Schools. She serves 8 years as an elected school board member and has a master's degree in law. She also brings the perspective of a military spouse to her reporting, so we really appreciate having her on. Victoria, thanks so much for joining us on The Real Story.
Hi, it's great to be with you. Thank you.
So you wrote this about your previous superintendent, Erin Spence, and he's going to go before Congress on the topic of superintendents breaking trust in America's schools. And you witnessed this firsthand. Can you kind of tell us your experience and what conservatives need to be aware of when they run for office?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I got into politics because of what was happening in my son's schools. I discovered as a parent that things were happening that we were not being told about. Teachers were being told that they had to essentially dumb down my son's education. They were being told they couldn't give zeros for work not turned in or deducting points for work turned in late. And that became a problem. It was creating some bad habits in the students here, and so I got involved. I never imagined the types of things that I would face as a school board member, and many of those were related to my interactions with Aaron Spence when he was the superintendent when I was on a school board down here. Things like, as a parent, finding that there were pornographic books available in my son's library. And I was a school board member at the time, had no idea these materials existed in our schools. And when I started asking questions about it, I started getting attacked. I was the minority on the school board, and I just started getting attacked for publicizing what was actually happening behind the wall of those government schools.
Wow. So now he moves up to Loudoun County. Was he there when all the allegations of the kid who, raped the other girl, was he there? Was he the superintendent at that time, or was that later?
He wasn't. He was not the superintendent at the time of the transgender rape in the bathroom, but he was superintendent when the female that identified as a boy was going into the boys' locker rooms. These boys spoke out. They were very uncomfortable with a female being in their locker room. They found out later that the girl was actually filming the boys. The boys spoke out about it, and they got in trouble. So they actually got suspended from school. The girl didn't get in trouble. And so those boys ended up filing a lawsuit, and they won settling out of court. And Aaron Spence was there for all of that.
Wow, because normally it's the other way around, where the girls don't feel comfortable with the boy in the locker room. So how many kids were suspended?
What's interesting, there were 3 that were set for suspension. 2 of them were Christian, 1 of them was Muslim. And when they challenged the suspension, they got rid of the suspension for the Muslim young man, but continued to prosecute the 2 Christians. And they fought back and ultimately won.
So you go on to say that in your article about this, that Spence participated in a webinar in 2022 titled "Why a Racial Equity Lens is Essential." Well, I got to tell you, in Illinois, it's all race all the time. And in fact, they're teaching our teachers in the teaching schools that they need to look at race and equity in terms of teaching. Do you have the same sort of program in your teaching schools in Virginia? I mean, I can't imagine we're the only state doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everywhere. And they use certain language such as culturally responsive teaching practices. That's essentially saying that you need to elevate the minority viewpoint to become the norm. And essentially, white young men especially are denigrated when they do this. And this is a practice that's happening across the nation. I do a lot of reporting on this. And Aaron Spence is a huge advocate of that and these equity policies. We used to call it critical race theory. It's all the same. And it continues to be pushed in school districts across the nation. And that's one thing we're trying to call out here at Restoration News. I've created a website called restoringedu.com, where we have a page called District Watch, where we are highlighting individuals such as Aaron Spence, school board members, other school leaders, teachers who are pushing political activism like this in the classroom.
Well, we might give you a list of districts that you need to watch in the state of Illinois. That'd be great. But, in that vein, I want to play this clip from Heather McDonald, who talks about where all of this racial equity ends up.
Anybody who has a straight white male son or grandson has either discovered this or will discover it, that straight white male is going to be the last admitted to selective colleges, to selective graduate schools, to professional schools, and to law firms, government, science positions, you name it. And students experience this daily. I was at an event last night, and a very left-wing mother had to admit that although her son had very good MCAT scores, he was right in deciding that he would never be admitted to medical school, and so he went to Palantir instead. Now, that's hardly the end of the world, but nevertheless, we have lost potentially a groundbreaking medical scientist, and this is happening all over.
And it's happening at every education level. Victoria?
It absolutely is. That is spot on. I have two white male sons who have been impacted by this. I did a story a few months ago regarding the U.S. Naval Academy. Some information came out in a lawsuit against the Naval Academy where back in, I believe it was 2022, they were supposed to be using SAT scores in the admissions process for the students attending the Naval Academy, future naval officers. And we found out during that in that lawsuit that the Naval Academy decided they were not going to use SAT scores and that they absolutely were considering race as a component of admissions. They bragged that year that they had 40% minority students admitted to the school. It really lowered the standards of who was admitted to this esteemed institution that both my husband and his father attended to become naval officers. Fortunately, we have an administration that has rolled back those practices, but it's not yet been solidified into law. And so those are the types of things that we have to demand our leaders up on Capitol Hill look at in the future and solidify it into law.
Yeah, that's right. An executive order can be easily overturned, and that's concerning. They do need to put this in law. And I mean, I also think it's interesting that with the Southern Poverty Law Center being, revealed for the fraud that they are, people should know they had an educational arm. The education project was called Teaching Tolerance, and it produced a free newsletter to which teachers all over the country subscribed. The newsletter was full of classroom activities for teachers to use to indoctrinate little ones with leftist assumptions on a host of topics, including on disordered sexuality. And that was written by my own cultural and education writer, Lori Higgins, who exposed that. So, I mean, this is just another way that all of this stuff has slipped into the education establishment. It's at the local level. There's little the federal government can do unless your local school board is going to do something.
Absolutely. This has to be caught at the local level, and that's one of the reasons why we launched our District Watch website, is so that parents and community members know what's going on. They need to start following school board meetings. The Southern Poverty Law Center was extremely influential in curriculum across the nation. I saw back when the Democrats were in control back in 2020 of the Virginia Department of Education, I saw them utilizing curriculum from the Southern Poverty Law Center in teacher training courses. And I have an article that's coming out soon where I did a deep dive investigation into grow your own teacher training programs across the nation. It's essentially, it's a jobs program to try to help encourage high school students to become teachers. And so they start their training in high school, and they partner with colleges to push these teacher training programs, which I think is a brilliant idea. It's great. However, as always in the education field, the leftists, the extremists have entered the conversation, and they're now controlling curriculum. Many of these programs are still using the Southern Poverty Law Center's Teaching Tolerance curriculum.
Well, there's so much to discuss. I guess, how can people interact with your District Watch website? Do they submit a tip to a tip line? What do they do? Is it only for like read only?
No, we would love to have tips. That's how we get a lot of our additions onto the site. RestoringEDU.com is the name of the website. It can also be linked from our restoration-news.com website. We do have a tip line. Click on there. If you know of a school district, school board member, or a school employee that is pushing political activism or woke policies in your district, please let us know. We'd be glad to investigate further.
All right. She's Victoria Manning, the senior investigative researcher for Restoration News. And Restoration News is a project of Restoration of America. It's a trusted investigative news source for the America First movement. Victoria, thanks so much for joining us on The Real Story.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I love your website, restorationnews.com. They've got wonderful articles, your trusted conservative news source. And coming up, we're going to get to ShotSpotter. You'll never believe how many people have died in 2 years since it has been taken away for literally no reason.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
And now it's time for the Cat's Corner.
This is John Catsimatidis, the Cat's Corner. Well, I remember the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. What happened? We have too many politicians in Washington that know nothing about business. Why? We need more common sense in Washington. Whether we're talking about the federal government, state government, you need common sense. We need the balance of power in our government. Doctors, lawyers, accountants, professionals, business people, and blue-collar workers. And that's the only way we can come out with common sense. Putting on taxes and regulations without knowledge of what happens. Some of the states are not doing a good job. All they do is raise taxes. And then when they need more money, they tax the taxes. I mean, you got to laugh about it, but it's happening. We need people that have common sense, a balance of power in all our legislative functions to be able to operate our country, our states, our cities more efficiently. This is John Catsimatidis, the Cat's Corner.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $283. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
I want to read you a quick text message. When I was in elementary school, I didn't know if my teachers were married or single. I did. And I certainly didn't know what their sexual orientation was. I didn't even know what sex was. I was allowed to be a child because no one pushed their weird ideologies on me. Let children be children.
Yeah, Pride Month, you know, it is quote unquote Pride Month, which I don't like at all. But I mean, but you know, the schools are the ones promoting it, and it's the businesses that are downplaying it.
Well, it's also, well, not even that. I mean, never in my lifetime would I ever think that Palatine Village Hall would not have the gay pride flag up. Arlington Heights does not have the gay pride flag up. They said, we have three flags. Obviously, the United States of America, our flag, the American flag, the state flag, and then POWMIA. And that's it. Because, Jeannie, they'll put up a pride flag, and guess what? Then the transsexual, non-binary, asexual group, there's 74 different flags for the gay community. Are you kidding me? Just stop. Stop wasting needle and thread. Okay? I mean, and I'm all for free speech, but I'm so glad that they stood up. And I don't know if that's why the Arlington Heights mayor isn't talking to anybody about the Bears decision, because he's afraid they're going to squeeze in. Oh, by the way, why don't you have up the gay pride flag?
Yeah.
For the first time in history.
Well, there's a lot of discussion going on in a number of different forums about, is woke dead? Is woke dying? Is woke still alive? I mean,
312-642-5600. We're going to talk about that in Shot Spotters. Again, 312-642-5600, because or maybe it's because we have a 250th birthday coming up next month. in July, which is right around the corner. We're going to blink and it's going to be July 4th. I mean, it's a month from today. Today's June 4th.
I honestly think that we should have 8 years of celebration for our 250th. Why not? I mean, I did go to that movie, Revolutionary America. It was very much a documentary, so be prepared for that. But it was extremely important to refresh your memory on just the sacrifice that happened and how tenuous the win was really at any time. And I thought it'd be an interesting thing to literally follow the battles every single year. So, at the end of this year, you go down to Valley Forge was 1777, I think. Okay. You go down to where the crossing of the Delaware. Just go ahead and recreate in your mind the conditions that they also did that in at the time that they did it in. Don't do it in the summertime. Go in wintertime. And think about what they did.
They don't
sacrifice.
Have paved roads.
No paved roads.
Like people forget about that. Like, there was no infrastructure. There was no. I mean, they didn't have on horse and buggy, right? for protective gear. So they did it the hard way.
No, I think that for that reason, people should go watch that movie or at least something similar to it and try and remember. Or try and imagine yourself in that same situation. What would you do to fight for freedom and liberty?
And what's the name of the movie again?
Revolutionary America. It's a documentary put out by Hillsdale College, and it's very well done for a documentary.
All right. Well, let's quickly go to ShotSpotter because yesterday they had a big rally in front of City Hall, and leading the charge was Father Pfleger. Now, I don't always agree with Father Pfleger, but on this one I do because it's been 2 years since ShotSpotter has been removed after Mayor Johnson decided not to renew the contract. And ShotSpotter is the reason why Adam Toledo, remember that whole thing? ShotSpotter, it detects if a gunshot went off. And most of the times there is a bleeding victim on the ground who's so injured that they can't call 911. So since ShotSpotter went away, we know of, and this is from CWB and Chicago Contrarian, between 4 to 6 people have bled out and have died because ShotSpotter was gone.
Over the last 2 years, there's been a number of bodies that have been found, victims, shot, who've laid on the street, and nobody knows for who long and how long they've been there. And so the painful thing for families is, had somebody gotten there earlier, could that life have been saved?
So the thing is Mayor Johnson, he was supposed to replace ShotSpotter. He was supposed to renew a contract with some other firm, and that has yet to happen.
We've gone through a very thorough vetting process, and here's why we were incredibly thorough. 2 administrations ago did not go through a comprehensive process as I'm going through. And what did we get? We got junk. It was an ineffective tool.
So, I mean, we have cameras for red light cameras to bring revenue to the city. We have school zone cameras, which I can't stand, speed zone cameras.
Right.
Why not just put up ShotSpotters? Right. And in neighborhoods where they need help. And they said that, remember early on, that it was racist to have a shot. Because as ever, you know, everything's about race when it comes to Mayor Johnson and Juliana Stratton and CTU President Stacey Davis Gates. They said it was racist. Well, we had one near us, and I didn't care. I didn't think my property values didn't go down because there was a ShotSpotter near Ashland and Irving. Who cares?
I mean, they want to surveil you in all sorts of other ways. I don't know why this is a problem. But, I mean, they have Brandon's body count, and they say there's 84.
Oh,
84. That's what CWB has under their heading. Victim found hours after he was shot on the South Side block that used to have a ShotSpotter, and they have Brandon's body count at 84. So I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of people that could have been saved, and they're not interested in it, I guess.
All right. Tomorrow, we have a great guest. Lieutenant Governor of Indiana will be joining us. I can't wait.
Micah Beckwith.
Yes. And then
About
we have
the Bears and the budget and all sorts of other stuff.
And what they're doing right and what we're doing wrong. We're going to have a complete autopsy on the state of Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and God bless America.